It's dark and raining. A person is stepping from slippery stone to stone along a shore, and the only light they have is a lamp, a lantern, swinging back and forth at their feet. All they have to navigate is 3 feet of light. Andrew, my executive coach, told me this story and said, "Paul, I initiate you into the fellowship of the lamp." He initiated me as he was once initiated by another, and I have since initiated many friends, and maybe you want to be initiated today. You're invited. In 2008, my friend Brett hosted the first 5K on New Year's Day to raise awareness and money for human trafficking, for slavery, for slaves. I love this tradition and in some weird way look forward to it. Instead of starting the year from the top, it feels better to start my year kind of at the bottom. As I'm running in freedom, in some divine way, I feel in solidarity with those slaves who are bound in brutality. It's a wake-up call. It's a cold, hard slap of reality. There are more slaves today than ever before in history. And for so many of them, there is no light to guide them. On a particular New Year's Day, it was 2021, during my run, I was listening to a podcast called 1,000 Small Steps with a guy named Matt Parker. Matt told his story of being called to another country. That was his first step with his family. And then eventually, step by step, he ended up going undercover and freeing slaves. The podcast host asked him, "Hey, how did you end up running an international anti-slavery organization?" He paused and said, I don't know. 1,000 small steps? Yep, 1,000 small steps. It starts with and always goes at the pace of one. One small step with a lamp hanging at our feet. Now, if you listen to the story, Let Me Tell You a Story, it was the first one that I've shared like this. I shared that for many years I was allergic and avoiding to posting publicly since I deleted Facebook in 2012. However, after listening to that podcast that day, I felt nudged. It was a real nudging to post, and it was on LinkedIn, and it was the first time in 9 years, and this is the post. And it got 1 like. It reads this way. Had a revelation this January 1st morning. Pick something that makes your heart cry. Find the organization, Lovers and Fighters. Help them. Donate monthly any amount. Put your heart, hands, and feet into it. Your feet. Just try it. Your energy advances freedom, and it stifles slavery. Multiply the love. God can't steer a parked car. So, as I reflect, I stepped with my left foot, and I started financially supporting that organization. And then I stepped with my right foot, and I overstepped this 9-year hurdle, and I posted others to do the same. Then, 1 month later, February 2nd, I was pushed out a door. I was let go from my job. And for hours, I walked step by step through mire in shock. When I got to the checkout, the lady asked me, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Not great." And I told her why. And while I told her, I was crying. And she said, with this thick South American accent, I'll try it, I guess, "My name is Luz. Do you know what that means? Light. Follow the light. You'll find the way." She was a light bearer in that moment, with a light at her feet shining the way for me. Now, it was that same day that I missed a bunch of calls from my friends Chris and Amy because we were supposed to meet that day, but canceled. I called them back and I told them what happened, and they encouraged me as I wept. Now, a week later, those same people, I took the next step and went back and I visited with Chris. And he invited me to read a book and then eventually, step by step, raise my salary, with my job being to invite others to take their next step to care for some of the most vulnerable amongst us, kids in fragile families, because those kids really need it. And for the next 6 months, I invited the first family, friends, and fools to take their next small step with me. And we started linking arms. They started joining me on the journey, investing in me and through me, and many joined. Chris became my boss and became the threshold that eventually became Story Connect. I believe that it's kind to only give us 3 feet of light. I think that we'd freak out if the lights were turned on, whether we keep taking the next small step towards, what we're designed, called, and invited to do, or even the opposite, that quiet desperation. It would shock us. But all that we have to do is take that next tiny step, because God can't steer a parked car. Now, when I started Story Connect, I didn't know the connections that I'd make or the stories that I'd co-create within this past year, especially on behalf of enslaved women. I didn't know that I would meet my friend Mandy. Mandy, she helps enslaved women, sexually trafficked women, find the light of healing and relationship. Did you know that 3,000 women are sold every month in Dayton? And I recently found out that trafficking survivors have only a 1% survival rate. I also didn't know that I'd be visiting and learning from an organization I've admired for 10 years called Thistle Farms. So for 30 years, Thistle Farms has housed, healed, and created jobs for women coming out of trafficking. And every morning, they light a candle to light the way for the next woman coming off the streets. And now I do that too. And I use their Love Heals candle. I also didn't know that Thistle Farms had a 2-day workshop. I didn't know that I'd invite Mandy and her team, and that 12 of us would go and get equipped and inspired to do that work in our community. You can see in the description I have a link of that trip and a bunch of pictures. Now, Thistle Farms, they started creating businesses early on to help the women heal. They make candles, package essential oils, craft handmade gifts. They work in a cafe and a gift shop together. It is a culture of healing. They heal and they grow together as they work. These businesses are called social businesses, and some call it work therapy. So social business and marketing, which AKA is storytelling, is my undergraduate degree. It's something that I'm so passionate about, and we'll tell many stories about it in the future. Now, with Mandy, we are taking these next small steps to figure out which and how to build these healing businesses for the women she serves. Will it be journal making? Will it be a coffee shop? We have ideas, but we don't know yet. But again, we are taking the next small steps to make it happen. Now, Mandy has had it inside of her. She's had a dream. And that dream is creating a tiny home community for these women, and it's a place to heal. In this past year, Mandy did not know that she'd be miraculously gifted with 19 beautiful acres close to her home. But she kept walking. Now, to help people see and feel and invest into this vision, she needs that first tiny home. And through Story Connect Connections, Mandy connected with a leader who will fully fund that first tiny home. Now, you never know what could happen when you make and nurture the right strategic connection. Seemingly like magic, resources flow to an area of great need. I am so proud of Mandy for continuing to take those next tiny, small steps, because she is a former slave with a 1% chance to live, will be nurtured back to life in a tiny home, all on her own next to a beautiful lavender field. And during the day, she will work in a community of sisterhood and heal from the hell, the unspeakable trauma that this woman endured. This woman is fully seen, known, and loved. And so are you, just as much. What next small step are you being invited to take? What distraction and anxiety is holding you back? What healing is right around the bend for you? And who will you meet there, either to offer their healing to you or you offer your healing to them? I bet it's both. My guess is that one step, your left foot, is with your talent, your gifting, how you're specifically and uniquely designed. What could you spend hours doing that feels like minutes? Where do you want to put that talent? For whom does your heart break? Now, that next step is with your right foot, your treasure, whether it's 2 small pennies or a barn full of gold. Who is already doing and caring for those you want to care for? Those folks, they have taken 1,000 small steps. Help them take the next one. You'll be elated that you did. Giving is joyful. And like I said in that first post on New Year's Day, find something that makes your heart cry. Find the organization, the lovers and the fighters. Help them. Donate monthly any amount. Put your heart, hands, and feet into it. Just try it. Your energy advances freedom. Multiply the love. God can't steer a parked car. Now, unashamedly, if you feel that Story Connect is a place that you want to invest in, you're invited. I believe in this work, and I believe in the solution that we get to steward, and many would be grateful. The partnership and the year-end giving link are in the description. I don't really know what this next year will look like. Do you? I have my hopes, plans, and ideas, but small steps seem to get us where strategic plans can't. Today, you are initiated into the fellowship of the lamp. You have 3 feet of light. Take the next small step. Friend, follow the light.